Hey, Shalom, Sister Kate here. Yes, I know, go ahead, yell at me, but I want to do this video while the thoughts are still fresh in my mind. I was just listening to an interview of an author. His first name was Junius. He wrote a book called An Unfinished Business, and in it, he's the author, he's a lawyer and a civil rights activist, and he wrote a book about his experiences in the United States in as early as the 50s when he was growing up in the South, in Richmond, Virginia. And during the interview, the interviewers asking him questions about where did you grow up, what your parents did, and, you know, just very historical, very interesting questions, setting a groundwork for who he is. And then gets into, you know, he entered the political arena as a pretty young man, right on the tail end of the civil rights movement. And he talks about the skills that they used in order to get the legislative changes that they wanted and so on. And it's all very interesting. And I was alive then. I'm not as old as he is, but I'm nodding my head like, yep, I remember some of these things, yep. And then they started talking about how the movement has changed over the years and so on. And something they said struck me, because when Barack Obama got elected president, you know, that's kind of the political height of we want equality now. You know, you've gotten a president, right? A president of color who, you know, is in the top position in the country. What struck me was how he talked about the gains that were made, the Civil Rights Act, and then the Voting Act, and so on. And when the first mayor was elected, a first black mayor, I think he said it was in Newark, New Jersey, that once the political middle class for African Americans reached positions of power, like having a mayor, that they thought that would then translate over into financial gain as well. And I mean, in America, that is the point of a lot of people's life, is just to work hard, make some financial success, be able to live an easy life. Not to say you never work, but that it's not a struggle every day. And that when these middle class political African Americans, like I said, made the gains and, you know, had people in positions like mayors and so on within the Democratic Party, that they thought that would then instantly translate into the war on poverty, making a lot of gains, and that in general African Americans in America would get benefit, financial benefit, and I'm assuming jobs and, you know, extras when you get hired on or whatever, would follow on the heels of that. And he was kind of surprised when it didn't automatically happen. And he said something about the suburbs kind of took the power away from the cities, because once they got in the cities, they thought they'd, you know, kind of climb and gain achievements in the cities, and then the suburbs. Thing is, in America, for anybody, because he did mention how the Irish had to claw their way up and the Italians had to claw their way up. In America, it's never easy street unless you're an elite and you know, your parents came over on one of the boats in the 1600s and bought a lot of land and set it up so that the land would make money and could just deed all that to you. Because there is a class of people in America like that. But that class of people in America is not the majority of Americans. The majority of Americans are the kind who come over as poor immigrants, and then they're, you know, they do things like, start again, to get ahead, and then, you know, you try to get your kids to get better, you know, more money, more professional jobs as each generation comes along. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that Junius and the people he is talking about were naive, but what I am saying is, because I've had this awakening, you guys have seen it in my videos, where Easy Street is kind of not everybody's experience. Most people's experience is, clawing and competing and working hard, which is the natural state of things, but it's also the biblical way of things. The Father says, from sun up to sundown, you're going to, by the sweat of your brow, you're going to earn your bread. And that's talking to the men mainly, but that can be the women as well. And at least until this generation where everything's automated, if the man's out clearing 40 acres with the mule, the woman's clawing in the dirt and planting, the garden and canning and bringing in the orchard and the berries, and then she's washing clothes by hand, and she's raising her children, milking the cow, making the butter, making the cheese. So I guess my point is, it's not easy street in America. And let people think life is about sitting around in mama's basement, drinking Mountain Dew and playing your favorite video game. And there's a generation of Americans expecting life to be easy, wanting life to be easy, when the reality is life is not easy. It is a struggle. And so if you tell yourself life is a struggle and I'm getting into it, and you start struggling, you're going to get benefits. You're going to show results. If you sit around thinking life is supposed to be easy street and I should be able to just sit on my rear end and somebody's going to hand me everything I want, I think that's being unrealistic. All right, y'all. I hope this benefits somebody. I got to go now. Bless you. Shalom.